Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And we know up in Scotland that the SNP, led by Nicola Sturgeon, are really pushing for trans men to be allowed into areas where women and children may well be, so that they can undress and expose themselves quite freely. One could say willy-nilly. But we have to ask, is there a reason for this? Is there a darker side? Why does Nicola Sturgeon feel it is important for trans men to have access to safe spaces? Over the last few days, I've done a couple of stories about Scottish Ps accessing areas with children, one in a supermarket and one in a woman's refuge. It seems to be that the SNP really care about allowing men access to young people for presumably their gratification. Well, it's not surprising, really, especially when you see the calibre of the people involved with the SNP. Let's look at this. Predator SNP official 40 branded a wolf in sheep's clothing after grooming and abusing 6 teenage boys over the course of a decade. He's now behind bars. Mark Kerr represented the Kilsyth ward on the North Lanarkshire Council, and he was found guilty of 9 offences, including attempted R of 1 boy. Kerr, 40, denied the allegations and claimed he was a 40-year-old virgin. Well, he may be a virgin with women, and when you see him you can understand that that is definitely true. But I suspect, well, no, now we know exactly what he is. He's been found guilty. He is a predatory P. He said he was the victim of a vendetta that wrecked his political career. No, you attempting to have sex with underage boys wrecked your career, you disgusting piece of human filth. A former SNP councillor is behind bars after abusing 6 teenage boys over the course of a decade. Mark Kerr was... should have been Wayne, really, shouldn't it? Was described by prosecutors as a predator hiding in plain sight. He was yesterday found guilty of 9 offences, including the attempted R of one boy at his home in Croy in Lanarkshire. The 40-year-old, who represented the Kilsyth ward on North Lanarkshire Council, carried out the attacks between December 2010 and May 2020. And most occurred before he was elected in 2017. Kerr, most, not all, Kerr, now of Wishaw in Lanarkshire, denied the charges at the Crown Court in Glasgow. And here he is. Hey girls, look at you missing out on. Is it any wonder that is a 40-year-old virgin? I mean, Jesus Christ. Never known to pass a Greggs. Prosecutor Michael McIntosh told jurors you might come to the conclusion that behind the public persona, that friend to all, he was a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's a big bloody sheep. A lot of people thought he was a good guy. Actually, no, I'm going to tell you now, and I say straight up, it's wrong. You should never judge a book by a cover. You should never look at people and make assumptions about them. But I'm telling you now, I look at that and I would be very concerned. He has the look of someone who is, I wouldn't, put him this way, I wouldn't trust him. He has the look of someone definitely that would be dodgy. Human nature is what it is, and we can take a look and we can make sometimes incorrect assumptions, but sometimes correct assumptions. And I'd have seen him, I would have been definitely a bit dodgy. I'd have said he was dodgy. Anyway, a lot of people thought he was a good guy, but he was a man who used his position, age and role as an activist to mentor and engage in sustained grooming of teenage boys for his own gratification. Kerr said he was the victim of a vendetta that wrecked his political career and saw him hounded out of his home of 32 years. Yeah, it's not the vendetta, is it, mate? It's what you have actually done. In often graphic detail, he insisted he was physically incapable of carrying out some of what was alleged, claiming he was a 40-year-old virgin. Judge Douglas Brown told the offender that a jail term was inevitable when he is sentenced next month and remanded him in custody. Kerr was also put on the SO's register. Jurors heard how the first boy had looked upon openly gay Kerr as a mentor. He said sexual activity first took place at a disused quarry when he was 15. So he is, a child artist. And that's the calibre of people who joined the SNP, an organisation now ahead of just about every other policy it's got except one. is pushing for men to be allowed to enter children areas where the children will be, because this is the SNP. We know now what the P in SNP stands for. The victim, who's now in his mid-20s, said he was attacked while he was sleeping in Kerr's home in 2015 after they'd been to a local SNP function. Describing the attempted R, he said, "I froze once I understood what was happening. I could not control my body." He later confronted Kerr at knife point in the street, yelling, "Tell my mum what you've done to me." Kerr spoke to another boy about gay sex before grabbing the teenager's bottom. The court also heard how Kerr joined two boys on a camping trip, pitching a tent. Yeah, I bet he was pitching a tent near the Boathouse restaurant in Kilsyth, and he was found guilty of molesting one of them in the tent. Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time he's pitched a tent when there's young boys around, I suspect. Kerr targeted another teenager by groping him and sending sexually graphic messages online. And his last victim was molested at a food bank set up to help people during the 2020 lockdown. He told the trial, "I thought he was a nice guy. I do not see that now." In evidence, Kerr claimed he'd been targeted after he drew attention to the danger of boys playing at a disused quarry. He sobbed as he told how he'd been filmed being forced out of his home and branded the local nonce. Well, the reason he's branded the local nonce, of course, is because he's the local nonce. He attempts to R children. He attempts to touch and, use children for his own gratification. That's why he's a nonce. Kerr was found not guilty of one SA, while one charge of R and another of engaging in SA with a teenager were not proven. He is an absolute piece of filth. There he is. He is scum, and he is part of the SNP party. And we know what the P's are. And so, Scotland, you deserve better. This is the calibre of people who join the SNP. He's not the first. He won't be the last. But they do this, and they push these strange laws. You can't have hate. There's no hate now. You're not allowed to have free speech. You're not allowed to have free thoughts or free opinions, because they'll send the police round to you if you dare to question or have wrong think. Scottish law is terrible. You can be in your own home having a private conversation, and if someone who's not there thinks you are talking about them and feels insulted and feels that it was hate driven, they can actually have the police around to possibly arrest you and question you. That's this is the Stasi force that the Scottish leadership, SNP, have forced on Scotland, because she is so, what's the word, I suppose, paranoid that people don't look up to her with godlike awe. She's a little shart of shite, and she's ruling fat sharts of shite like that. And that is the SNP in Scotland. And I know that there's going to be a lot of SNP supporters are going to be going, no, that's wrong. You can't say that. Yeah, I'm afraid it's true. That hate law is true. And she's pushing this let grown men undress in ladies' changing rooms where women and young girls may be present. She's pushing that. And you have to wonder why she's so obsessed with this. And I think she is in charge of a lot of P's, and I wouldn't put it past the realms of possibility that she also was possibly a P. She's certainly a fellow traveller. Anyway, I'm going to round off and come up. So, why? Why does Sturgeon push something that 99% of her electorate don't want? Why does she feel it's so important to let the economy go down the toilet, let education go down the toilet, let the drug problem in Scotland fall to the floor? All these things, completely unimportant to Sturgeon, but having men enter women-only spaces, that's what she's fighting for. That's what she wants. That's what she's saying is the second most important thing in Scotland. The most important thing in her mind, of course, is independence. Again, something that the majority of Scots don't want. Scotland, why do you keep voting for this strange, dangerous woman and her perverted policies that damage women and children? Please do something about her. I'm not saying that all the SNP are like her, but the cult of Sturgeon is a terrible thing to behold. And thankfully, it's not everyone is. Old Ash resigned the other day on the on policy and wonderful woman. She had the ethics, she had the morals, and she had the bravery to resign because she felt that these laws coming in were damaging. And then you get individuals like this lowlife like this. Again, SNP, and that's I'm not surprised. Because they have this absolute lust for power and children in the SNP. Anyway, I'm going to round off there. Thanks for listening. If you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you haven't already, ring the bell for notification of future output. Leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. Jesus, don't vote for the SNP. And goodbye.